Hi, I'm Officer Higgins with the SRO unit slash community engagement unit, and today I'm here to talk about making good choices. I taught the GREAT program in the schools for many years, and one of the the best lessons I like was goal setting. One of the other ones is making good choices, and it's super important that we think about what we do each and every day. We make choices all day long. A lot of them are easy, like what to eat, what to wear, but sometimes we come into a situation where the choice is going to be very difficult, and I have some tips that will help you. I didn't think about it when I was growing up, and nobody told me, hey, do this, because some of the choices that we make, believe it or not, can affect your entire future. And I learned that throughout the years, being a police officer dealing with kids and adults that have maybe got into drugs and alcohol, and some of the choices that can affect not only your future, but it can affect your health. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. I always like to share a little bit of a story and about choices. And one of the choices, the reason why I'm a police officer now is because of a poor choice I made a long time ago. Back in 1983, a long time ago, I was actually drafted by the Minnesota Twins. I was actually a professional baseball player. And we were playing a game. I had a perfect game going, which is, unheard of most of the time. And needless to say, in the last inning of the game, not one player had reached base, and I had 2 outs, and the first baseman made an error. And once the game got over, I lost my no-hitter, shutout, everything because of the first baseman. I went into the locker room, and everybody was like looking at me, and I wanted to hit him, but he was my teammate, so I couldn't. So what I did is I punched the wall. And when I punched the wall, I broke my pitching arm and my pitching hand, and put myself in a cast, and basically ended my professional baseball career because of a split-second decision I made to punch a wall instead of just saying, hey, there's going to be another game tomorrow. So I always share that story, and it worked out for me for one reason, because I had a 4-year education, and I was able to fall back on that. I had 4 years of college. So, I stress the importance of school and the importance of making good choices. And when we talk about choices, you got to remember there's always going to be a consequence. All right. It's either going to be good or it's going to be bad. When we talk about drugs and alcohol, I always tell the kids, I go, you know what? I go, if you have a hard choice, somebody's inviting you to a party where maybe there's alcohol or drugs, and you don't know if you should go or not, if they're going to, not like you anymore. I go, I found out the hard way that, sometimes regardless of what goes on, you're always going to sit there and be accepted by your friends, whether you go to these parties or not. But once you start getting involved in the drugs and alcohol, it can ruin your life. A lot of jobs they ask if you've ever been convicted of a felony, have you ever used drugs, and stuff like that. So, when we're in middle school, high school, and stuff like that, things that we do will definitely affect our future at some point along the way. And what I've come up with actually is a nice little way to help you make a difficult choice. And if you were to sit there and let's say, for instance, somebody asks you to, smoke some marijuana after school, all right? It's very easy. You draw a line down the middle of the paper, you put smoke marijuana, and you put the positive consequences and the negative consequences. So if you sit there and think about it, what good is going to come from smoking a cigarette, especially a marijuana, which is illegal, after school? And you're like, well, it's going to be fun. All right. So I add that into my good category. It's going to be fun. And then I start thinking there's really not a whole lot of other benefits to smoking it. And I look at the negative consequences. Number one, marijuana cigarette, believe it or not, has more chemicals than a regular cigarette, and all that stuff goes into your body. It affects your lungs and everything else. Number two, it's illegal. If you get caught, you can either get a citation or arrested. Number three, if you're in school, you're either going to get suspended or you're going to have to do in-school suspension or you're going to get in trouble. So if I start listing all the bad things that are going to happen, it's going to be far more than the positive, and it's going to say, hey, I probably shouldn't do it. The other thing is we got to sit there and think about why do I make these choices? And, you know, I sit there, we've kind of narrowed it down to three things. We have the media, right? The media portrays, you know, like smoking and drinking and all this stuff in all the movies, and we tend to accept it as a normal way of living, which it's not. Right? The other one is our friends and our family. These have the influence upon us each and every day on what we're going to do, you know, based on how I grow up, whether my parents are very strict, would depend on whether I do a lot of things. The media, depending on what I watch on TV, is going to affect, you know, things I do. And the number one effect of all kids on making bad choices is their friends. You know, they're going to sit there, and if you have a friend that's saying, hey, you know, there's going to be a fight after school, I need you there to help me, right? That's really not a good friend, because, you know, somebody can get hurt or somebody's going to get in trouble. A real friend's going to say, hey, don't go there, right? Don't do that, right? A real friend is going to sit there and say, hey, don't drink alcohol or don't use marijuana because it can hurt you, all right? So these are things we got to remember when we are faced with a difficult choice to make in our life, and you guys will at some point be faced with one of these challenges. And, you know, my challenge to you is to, you know, stand by your guns and say no. All right. And a lot of times we're not strong enough inside to sit there and say, no, I'm not going to do that. But once you start doing that, people will stop asking you to do the wrong thing. They're going to go, no, I know that guy. If I ask him, he's going to say no, and they'll leave you alone. So whenever you come into a situation where you have a difficult choice to make, always remember that there are people you can go to. And you have officers, you have parents, hopefully you have good friends that will guide you in the right direction. But remember, you're not alone in making tough decisions. There's always somebody to ask for help. And you know what? I think the biggest problem that we have, even adults, is asking people for help. Right? But there's always someone out there that's willing to, you know, make sure that you have a good chance at life, that you can get a good job, and they'll help you along the way, because, you know, the number one thing is, you know, make good choices and think about what you do before you do it. And if it's not going to hurt or cause any type of problem, then, you know, go ahead and do it. So I'm going to go ahead and finish up and just tell you guys that, you know, I hope that your summer or, you know, whatever you're involved in, whether it's summer school, whatever, is going good. And I wish everybody success. And, you know, like I said, you know, the only thing that saved me was having my 4 years of college education. It helped me become a police officer, and, you know, and obviously, you know, making good choices along the way as I was growing up, not getting involved in drugs and alcohol and other stuff was definitely beneficial to me. And with that, I hope you guys have a good summer, and you guys take care of yourself, and we'll see you guys. Bye.